Teams in the Isuzu UTE A-League men's meeting at the perfect time in perfect weather at McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. The home fans reinvigorated about their Jets and taking on a Wellington Phoenix team that will provide a stern test to start round 14 tonight. These two teams are flying up the table and thrilling their respective fan bases, and it does seem as though it is the perfect time for them to square off. The Isuzu UTE tunnel cam showing us both teams almost ready to go, walking out in ideal weather on this Friday night. Newcastle, if they do win, they won't just consolidate their spot in the top six, they will tick off a first win at McDonald Jones Stadium against the Phoenix since October 2022. And that home form has been the one little issue that they are trying to resolve as they continue to take major strides under Mark Milligan. They want to send their home fans home happy, and they can do so by beating the Phoenix. Should they be successful here, they will equal their club record winning streak. Wellington will be acutely aware that Newcastle got the better of them back on the 14th of December with 3 goals in 7 minutes. Wellington losing 3-1 in that match at Sky Stadium, and so they'll be hoping that they can bounce back and take their good travelling form, which has yielded recent wins in both Redcliffe and Sydney, here to Newcastle tonight. So let's take a look at how the teams line up. Newcastle see fit to make no changes to the starting 11 that defeated the Western Sydney Wanderers at Combank Stadium last weekend. And one switch on the bench, Costa Grozos' calf. Now maybe a 2-week injury, and it means Alexandro Nunez comes in to Mark Milligan's substitutes. It's a young Jets team, but they are exciting and they are taking their opportunities. Watch out for the likes of Will Dobson in that 28 shirt and Clayton Taylor in the number 13, having outstanding runs of form. Eli Adams, though, is perhaps top of the pops. He's perhaps already got the top 2 goals in the goal of the season stakes. Could he take the podium? It's entirely plausible, given some of the strikes he's unleashed so far this season. Let's go to the Wellington Phoenix, and Giancarlo Italiano also sees fit to make no changes to the starting 11 that defeated Sydney FC 2-0 at Allianz Stadium last Sunday. So the Sunday to Friday turnaround hasn't worried the gaffer, and there is one significant change on the bench. Sander Khartoum, the Norwegian, is set to make his Isuzu UTE A-League debut. Finro Akonji drops out of the matchday squad, and Bill Tuiloma, the 45-cap New Zealand international, still has to bide his time, waiting for a first A-League start. There has been a bit of chat in the transfer rumblings about Newcastle targeting Alex Rufer when he comes out of contract at the end of this season. He's synonymous with the Wellington Phoenix. You can see he's got a sensational record in this competition, only 29 years of age and closing in on 200 appearances. Let's not forget he did lose a season to a serious knee injury, so he is one of the more reliable players in the competition. Even though he's Phoenix through and through, the Jets have got their eyes on him. Mark Milligan very much keeping it composed pre-game when talking about focusing on only his own side, but there were just a few little hints that he has studied the tape of what the Wellington Phoenix have been doing in recent weeks as their form has seen them fly up the table. So what adjustments and how different will the Jets look tonight for this particular opponent? And Giancarlo Italiano is enjoying life as his Wellington team make big strides. They're starting the round in 8th, but if they win tonight, they'll go to 21 points. And depending on the margin of victory, that would put them potentially as high as 3rd, if not 4th or 5th by the end of the evening. Declan Woods has the whistle for the first time this season. He refereed his first 2 A-League games last campaign. In the VAR booth, if we need a second pair of eyes, are Tim Danaskos and Brad Wright. And the assistant referees on pitch tonight are Emma Kotzbeck and Matty Allum. The 4th official is Eric Saba. So Newcastle's 4-game club record winning streak in the Isuzu UTE A-League men's was in January 2008. A very long time ago. Wellington Phoenix want to make sure that they do not rewrite the record books tonight. The rewards for a win in such a crowded ladder are massive. Who will strike first, and how many strikes will there be? It seems like it's perfect conditions for A-League football. We've only just stepped into the second half of the season, and these two teams have big dreams for what's to come. Underway in round 14, it's Newcastle Jets hosting the Wellington Phoenix, and straight from kickoff, Daniel Wilmering with a dash down the wing. And Newcastle want to attack straight away. Here's Lockie Bayliss looking for Will Dobson at the edge of the box. And as he gets into a wrestle, the attack continues for the home side in the very first minute. Bayliss is going to shoot! The ideal start! Incredible! Barely time to draw breath and take your seats. And the Newcastle Jets are hitting the back of the net again. Lachlan Bayliss makes it 1-0. And I welcome to the broadcast Daniel McBreen. What an opening!
Well, Eli Adams made me giggle last week with the finish he had. Well, Lockie Bayliss just says, let me have a crack. What a start for the Jets. They are loving life near the top end of the table. And on the Harvey Norman replay, you see there's plenty of Wellington Phoenix numbers around, and they fight well to keep the ball. And then he just cuts inside, and only one thing on his mind, that is an absolute thunderbolt. Lockie Bayliss hasn't had many starts this season, but the determination there. Clayton Taylor with a little bit of a shepherd there, keeping Alex Ruffer away, which opened up the path, but look at that for the finish. McCarron at full stretch. There's nothing you can do about that. That is right out of the top drawer.
Just his second A-League goal, and you see there ticking off 50 games tonight. The last strike was a pretty handy one too. It was December 2024 away in Perth. Well, he's doubled his career tally now, and he has put Newcastle in an ideal position. Wellington almost kicking off like they start the game again. And if you were anywhere near McDonald Jones Stadium tonight, you might be deciding, let's get down and watch the rest of this one, because the Jets already have a goal in pocket. And Macca, the game has already changed before I even had a chance to ask you what you were looking forward to. I think Newcastle answered that question in barely the first 20 seconds.
Well, everyone loves a banger early in the game, don't they? Well, what a start. They are riding high. Confidence is flowing. Mark Milligan has this team believing, and it's been a long, long time. 8 years since they were sitting in third position at this stage of the league. And Lockie Bayliss, well, he's just gave them a great start to keep them in touch with the top two.
Well, as things currently stand on the live table, they are level with Auckland FC on 24 points. 3 goals difference behind. Here's Eli Adams, his first meaningful involvement in the game. The stopwatch at 21 seconds for that opening goal of the night. And that attempted through pass is just hit a little wide through the centre right channel and out for a goal kick. What about the Phoenix? How do they readjust after absorbing so much pressure and copping a goal early?
Well, I think that's one of those ones that comes so early that you just have to, right, let's scrap that off and we just continue with the game plan. The game plan would have had them thinking that they were going to win this game anyway. They haven't been kept scoreless except for one match this season. Just the one game they've been kept scoreless. So they'll back themselves that they can get themselves back in this game. There are goals there. We know the Jets still with the worst record in defence, although they have been much better in the last 8 weeks.
Here's Matt Sheridan. Carlo Armiento coming off a goal against Sydney FC last weekend. And Isaac Hughes has scored in his last 2. So we know that he'll be dangerous. Set pieces. That clearance from McCarron, though, is going to invite on pressure. Clayton Taylor seizes upon the ball. Taylor into the near post. And Lockie Rose making a near post run, but couldn't get a glance. And McCarron able to hold on to that cross.
Well, it's a sloppy pass out, isn't it? And that's the run you want your striker to make. Lockie Rose just peels away and looks to get across the keeper. And a slight touch there. And it spells danger for the Phoenix.
One thing they will no doubt recall is how quickly the goals came in the first head-to-head meeting between the teams when Newcastle got into their flow. It's not quite the 5-minute mark yet. Vianney Eze making a run, making things a little difficult for Mark Natter, but He's able to win a throw-in deep at left back as the Jets see it.
Well, that's one thing that you know you'll get from Eze. He will give you maximum effort. He will be a thorn in the side of this Newcastle Jets defence. He doesn't let anything go without testing them. So much movement and strength. When you partner him up front with Piper, it's quite a formidable, strong pairing.
There's going to be some battering ram centre forward play from those two tonight. Can they get the supply as the midfield sorts itself out here? Wilmering trying to play it to Taylor. Both teams think it's their throw-in, but the flag waves Phoenix's direction. And Draker James trying to organise his defence. Coming off what I think many consider his best showing in a Phoenix shirt against Sydney FC last weekend, but the clean sheet's out the window already tonight.
Well, he's definitely grown into the season, hasn't he, James? Outstanding performance last week. Had that clearance off the line as well. Not too sure how much he knew about it, but got himself in the right position.
The arrival of Bill Tuiloma creates a bit more depth for Phoenix, and maybe that competition just has everyone finding that extra percentage, both in training and they'll hope here, the Phoenix, in games as they venture down the right flank here. Payne looked starved of options. Back to Kazuki Nagasawa. Now Hughes. Sheridan. Nazarene trying to lay the ball off to Piper. And the Jets' defence repelled. Taylor. He loves to dribble. This time he goes for the early pass. Rose. Running out to the left. Circles back to the goal scorer, Bayliss. And now Max Burgess retaining his defensive midfielder role tonight, or maybe holding midfielder, if you will, in the absence of Costa Grozos. Here's Eli Adams. Now Joel Bertolicio. The Jets looking comfortable in possession. The next pass all important. Will Dobson drives a low cross. It's a shot on target, blocked away. Hughes made the block. Clayton Taylor foiled. And now Bertolicio. Adams with a burst of acceleration and wins a corner kick.
Well, that passage of play there just sums up the Newcastle Jets this season. Bodies around the ball, movement in behind, crosses into the box. They keep the defence on the back foot, constantly moving, constantly shifting them into different areas, and they do it so well.
Joe Shaughnessy popped up for his first A-League goal last weekend with a header. He'll be one of the targets for Eli Adams here. To the back post it falls. And it is a goal kick. Burgess made a late slide. And Macca, let's take a look back at that opening goal for anyone who may have missed the first 21 seconds of action tonight.
Well, what about that? If you were just ducking to the toilet or getting your cup of tea, you made the mistake of missing one of the goals of the season. They're certainly racking up a few, the Jets, aren't they? A few contenders this year.
Well, it's even got Eli Adams impressed. He's thinking, hang on, I was trying to have the top 10 goals of the season all to myself. Here's McCarron, a slip, which Hughes cleans up. Rose will press. And McCarron's going to have the Jets fans on his back for the rest of this first half behind that goal. Corbin Piper in the meantime, trying to stretch the game in the other direction. And the backtracking Burgess only succeeds in knocking it to Eze. A sighter well wide of the target.
Well, that right there could be the weakness for the Jets, that match-up. Look at the pace of Piper here. Shaughnessy just struggling a little. I think we'd be looking, if I was Chiefy, to isolate my striker. 1v1 there. That's where the weakness is, the pace of Shaughnessy.
And now they might get the chance to do exactly that. Oh, Shaughnessy showing that he's got the timing down. Spent plenty of time in the Scottish Premiership before moving to Australia this season. So now the Jets defence back in place. Bertolicio covering that right side of defence with Shaughnessy in the middle. That's the right-sided centre-back, and he wins the header right here. Nagasawa. Now Burgess to Adams. Ran into trouble in the form of Sheridan. Piper. Eli Adams. as bodies collide. Rufer went to ground. Sheridan committed to a slide tackle. And the whistle goes. It is Wellington's free kick. And they won't get to take their advantage over on the right flank.
Well, it's the goal scorer here, Nicky Bayliss, who just arrives a little late. Contact is there, but I actually think he pulled out at the last second, but nonetheless, still painful for both players.
So Phoenix back in possession. Rufer with a scoop pass. Asking a lot of Carlo Armiento. Bertolicio, now Piper escapes with the ball, and Piper cuts it across. Nasharin's first touch abandoned him. Still got a shot away, and then cleared by Bayliss. Phoenix are growing into the game, and it is the matchup that you flagged just moments ago.
Yeah, that is the big danger for the Jets. Shaughnessy does read the game well, but caught in those situations, 1v1, that is a real opportunity, and we saw again there, Piper just getting in behind, creating some real danger in behind the Jets' back line.
Mandrake James with the long ball. Now Eze's turn to go chasing, but that's going to bend out for a throw-in. Natter plays it back to his goalkeeper, James Delianov. Wilmering sets the runners away. Does the pass have the bend? McCarron, it sits up. Oh, and Rose, the ball nearly fell so fortuitously for him. Almost by complete accident, he was played in.
Well, it was a great run. You can see Taylor and Rose both making the same run. One a little wider. And when McCarron made the decision to come, it was the right decision, but he just didn't get the hands on it properly, couldn't reel it in. Lucky Rose just didn't realise it was popping up behind him. Didn't have time to react.
He does like playing the Phoenix. 3 goals in 11 appearances against them. Bayliss to Dobson. Oh, Adams' pass gives possession away. Corbin Piper. There's a bit of a lone hand here, waiting for support to arrive. Armiento breaks wide. Sheridan working with Rufer. And Sheridan played through. All about the delivery, and he doesn't have the pinpoint pass. Bertolicio intercepts. And now switches flanks, trying to set Clayton Taylor away, but too much on the ball.
Well, just a little disappointing, that cross, wasn't it? There was plenty of Knicks players in the box, waiting, making those runs. Just have to beat that first defender. Give your teammates the opportunity to attack the ball.
Nagasawa sees a little gap. Here's Payne. Back to Nagasawa and James. McCarron with the switch of flanks. Sheridan, well, intercepted by Bertolicio. And now Eli Adams. Held up by Nagasawa, and Nagasawa's done very well to win the ball away. Saves the day for the Phoenix there. They can build here. Payne is really motoring forward through the right. Eze through the middle. He slides it on Nasharin. Piper! Good save, Delianov. Keeps the Jets in front. And Eze trying to cross in again. This time blocked away by Natter.
Well, that was lovely football from Wellington Phoenix. That touch there. Nasharin, Corbin Piper with the goal at his mercy. Delianov with a good save down to his left, but wasn't right in the corner, was it? He gave Delianov the opportunity to save. Beautiful sweeping football from one end to the other from Wellington Phoenix.
Payne, who made that lung-busting run, didn't end up as part of the attack. Burgess. Payne crashes in. Bayliss, Taylor. Slick football from Newcastle as they try to escape, and they opt to go backwards. for a bit of breathing space. Phoenix happy to stand off, just at the halfway line. You see Delianov roaming out of his penalty area. Now Natter. Clayton Taylor builds ahead of steam, plays it to Wilmering. First time ball. Bayliss for his second of the night. This time he hits the support holding up the net behind the goal.
Well, again, it's neat football. Lovely running behind. They do that so well, the Jets, and Lachie Bayliss does well to get there, but he just couldn't open up the hips and the ankle enough to angle it across the goal. Tried to use his preferred right foot.
Mark Milligan back to the bench. His assistant coach, Nick Stavroulakis, there on the walkie-talkie. Must have an eye in the sky.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, that'd be Ruben Zadkovic up in the box, in the coach's box, sending down some information.
Nagasawa. Now Armiento. Does he back himself on the tight angle? He does. And Delianov had those angles covered and makes a save.
Well, if you give him an inch, Carlo Armiento, he'll try and take a mile. Doesn't mind a strike.
Now Newcastle, the game slinging end to end at the moment. Rose's early ball, not early enough to beat Sheridan. Adams was the intended target. The Jets go again. Bayliss spins, but left the ball behind. Najjarine helping out the defence. Nagasawa turning out of trouble. Vianney Eze got himself into a tangle here. And Drake and James steps out. Eze, Nagasawa, and Rufa. The Phoenix now can enjoy a bit more calm possession as they escape the Newcastle players. And from open space, Armiento bending it towards Piper. A back pass here. Delianov and Shaughnessy. They're going to work it out between the two of them. Mackie, you're observing the touchline mannerisms of Giancarlo Italiano closely.
Well, I just spoke to our producer and said he's unusually quiet. Normally you see him on the sideline shouting instructions, and he just had spent quite the time, just sat on the bench, just taking it all in, obviously discussing with his coaching staff. They haven't been without their opportunities. Corbin Piper in particular has gone in behind on a couple of occasions.
Well, it doesn't feel like the game is settled. We're 18 minutes in and both teams are still swinging, still attacking. And the Jets fans providing the soundtrack to the game. Natter. Burgess back to Bertolicio. Two centre-backs play the ball to one another, and then a misdirected pass. Rufa intercepted, and the Phoenix can go here. Nagasawa sees the running Eze. Who's on in the middle for him? Vianney Eze breaks right, and to the near post. It's spilled into the path of Piper, and somehow it stays out. A corner kick, the end result. Piper asks for a handball, but they came close with both Najjarine and Piper there.
Well, I think deja vu at the last time these two teams met. On that occasion, it was Wellington Phoenix who created the better opportunities in the first half. And they've had three now. Giancarlo Italiano down the sideline giving some instructions, must be thinking, let's not do this again. We need to find the back of the net. They've created multiple chances now.
First corner of the night for the visiting Phoenix team. Isaac Hughes has scored in his last 2 games. Can he get on the end of this corner kick here? Payne. Straight onto the head of Rose. Armiento. Second time ball in, and it is Hughes the target, but can't drive that header anywhere towards goal. Just a harmless up and under, volleyed away. So the handball, Shoutmaker, anything in this?
No. Simple answer.
And I think VAR saw it as equally simple. But it was a goal line scramble, and a desperate one at that, with Newcastle keeping the clean sheet intact. But for how long, with the way the Phoenix have grown into this contest? In midfield, Nazarene prevails. Took evasive action around the referee and then fed the pass out to Armiento. Near post run from Piper and then the back heel. A little step over, a little too ambitious. So the Jets not too worried this time as they advance through the left. It sits up for Adams, saved by McCarron, and the follow-up header parried and cleared. McCarron not quite back to his feet, and he just lunged after the ball. It proved enough with the help of his teammates. Bertolicio and Burgess. Burgess to Will Dobson. Dobson in the pocket. Rose takes possession. Feeds it on. Bertolicio blocked away out for a corner.
Yeah, it needed to be first time. Got time to take the touch there. Defenders get across and close it down, but they moved the ball well. Lucky Rose couldn't find the space. I think Bertolicio just had to go there first time. And here's another look at that save from McCarron. And again, he gets up, and it's inches away from Eli Adams again. It's good free-flowing football from both teams at the moment. Opportunities at both ends.
Adams with the Jets' second corner of the night. It's going to bend away. And Taylor not able to keep it in. McCarron is down inside the 6-yard box. Have a look at the previous attack and the double save he made.
The first one, you think, yes, he probably should make that when it comes straight at him, but the second one, he's going one way and the header goes the other. Did well to recover.
Now the 18-year-old McCarron, in just his 6th A-League game, has been playing in that large knee brace on his left knee. So pre-existing concerns, which he's taken into the run of games, his first exposure to A-League level football. Picked up 2 clean sheets in that time, and on the bench is Albert Kelly-Heald, who had a run of very impressive A-League football of his own last season, and he's only 20 years of age. Josh Oluwayemi still out injured for Wellington. This is going to be seemingly quite a significant delay. Keeping an eye on the bench here for the Phoenix, looking to see if Kelly-Heald is any closer to being ready to come on. He's still warming up all the way down the other end of the ground at present, and Macca, this is where he decided to take the seat and call the trainer.
Well, there didn't seem to be too much in that, was it? Just there was a little bit of contact between Lucky Rose and himself. That big bandage, as you mentioned, across that left knee.
So he's back on his feet, and perhaps perhaps the best indicator that he wasn't in any serious trouble of coming off during that 1 minute and 20 seconds is that Albert Kelly-Heald never stopped warming up with the other players down at the other end of the pitch. He wasn't run over to the bench or given a briefing by the coaching staff. We saw that cutaway there. He was still looking pretty happy, doing his strides behind the goal. A goal which Corbin Piper is attacking again. Oh, and he's run into the stanchion behind the goal. He's quite literally poleaxed himself. And this is a concern. Such was his momentum after Delianov plucked the ball away. And the trainer is out immediately for Corbin Piper.
Well, he's been the danger down this left-hand side. It's a heavy touch there, and then just as he goes through, you see he cleans up the pole that holds the net up behind the goal. Couldn't stop himself, and hopefully just a little bit winded. He's up and all right now, so no major damage. At his size, I'd be probably more concerned about the pole.
Maybe just the shock of the impact more so than the lasting effects. That's the level of commitment he's playing with tonight, though. Straight back up and running. Have those two stoppages just halted the momentum of this game, or as soon as the ball is back at Jets' feet, spring to life once again. Dobson drifting deeper into the midfield, really for the first time tonight. Max Burgess directing traffic and perhaps directing Dobson as well, saying, get forward, young man. That's where the pass was directed, off the back of Adams, and the flag is up for offside.
Well, Lockie Rose made a couple of good runs in behind there, trying to get him behind the high line Wellington Phoenix had right up and halfway. He was in an onside position as the ball was played, but Eli Adams just strayed into an offside position.
Hughes surveys the scene. Rose is going to hurry him up. Sheridan runs into a 1-on-2. Much of fortune as the ball finds its way to Armiento. He's able to switch flanks with a beautiful pass over to Payne. Boomerang coming across. Payne delivers off the gloves of Delianov. And now Armiento with a deflection, and saved again by Delianov. And again by Delianov. Incredible! A triple save. And the Phoenix aren't done. Here's Armiento. Frees the feet for the cross, and it stays out yet again. It doesn't get any closer than that. And James Delianov, 3 incredible saves. And now the Jets can flip the script and head to the other end. Clayton Taylor knocked off the ball, legally according to the referee. And the Phoenix load up again. Armiento instigated chaos just a moment ago. He's going to shoot here, and it's blocked away. Protection at last for the goalkeeper as it finds its way out for a throw.
Well, Armiento's just copped an absolute spray from Chiefy. He knew he had players up in support. Piper making the run in behind. It was almost a miracle attempt, the shot there with a player in front. Chiefy is still giving it to him now. He must be wondering how that ball hasn't ended up in the Newcastle Jets net. Quite remarkable triple save from Delianov.
Now the Jets are back in possession. It was a good little chance they had just a moment ago. Dobson to Taylor. He's got a sighter here, and McCarron makes an equally good save at the other end and grasps onto the ball.
Well, if you nipped out to the toilet and a cup of tea at the start of this match, don't do it until half-time. It is end-to-end. Another great save for McCarron down to his right. Both teams opening up the defences.
The referee, Declan Woods, is coming over to the sideline here. The fourth official, Eric Saba, I think making an inquiry about a divot here that's being looked at on the halfway line. Let's go back to the triple save.
Well, first there was the palm away from the cross. Then this save down low. The reactions there for Eze. The first and the second time. Truly remarkable. Great goalkeeping. And then how has this not ended up? Bodies flying everywhere. The strike partnership both throwing themselves at it, but look at that. Down, up again with the right hand, and then again with the splits. Fantastic goalkeeping.
Out of that chaos, the score remains only 1-0 after 30 minutes.
How?
It could have been quite a few more. Both teams with plenty of opportunities now. Nagasawa, a quickly taken free kick. Can Payne keep it in? He does. Underlapping run from Nazarene. Did he keep it in? Flag stays down. So that was a live cross. The Jets clear it initially, but Phoenix right back in possession. James, Payne, Nazarene clips it on. Too much on it. Held on to far more conventional, comfortable goalkeeping this time. Well, if such a thing is possible, how do the Phoenix become a bit more transition-proof? They've piled so much forward, and then the Jets hit them back the other way. And we've seen 3 or 4 times really good opportunities to make it 2-0 because the Phoenix heads are spinning that they haven't scored, and the Jets hit them the other way.
Well, that is the question I think a lot of A-League coaches would be asking, is how do you stop?
Lockie Rose is in on the right here and hits the side netting. Just couldn't bend it back towards the target.
Well, just as we're talking about it, it happens again. How do you stop this Newcastle Jets team getting in behind? Lockie Rose is a constant thorn. He's always stretching the defence, looking to get in behind. And when he doesn't get the ball, because he stretched that defence and dragged them away, the space opens up in midfield. And as we've seen with the Jets, they love to get bodies around the ball. They move it, 1 and 2 touch. It's a constant change for the defence. They can never really be comfortable and get set.
Wins the initial aerial duel and then is fouled at ground level. Quickly restarts play. Bayless. Adams, did he stay onside? He's got Rose on in the middle. Adams didn't catch the cross with what he needed. Hughes makes it awkward for himself with the touch. Has his pocket picked by Will Dobson. And Dobson, the chop pass, nearly found its way to Rose. Burgess intercepts the clearance. And then showing off his left side, flashes a shot just wide to the right.
Well, Jets attacking players are just finding it a little bit too easy at the moment to break that line. And this is the outcome. Danger in the box. You've got Lockie Rose, Eli Adams. They're making those runs in behind, and the curling passes in behind into their path is causing all kinds of problems.
Having just as much fun as us in the commentary box tonight as Kat Haddad at ground level. Good evening, Kat. Great point, Kat. 9 shots on target, only the 1 goal, and that's due to some excellent goalkeeping, it must be said.
Yeah, both keepers have done well.
I feel like the second goal is going to be hugely important. We're still guessing as to which end it's going to come at. Shaughnessy. Bertolicio, Burgess, a master at creating space for himself. The Jets are forced backwards here. Natter, now Wilmering. Side to side go Newcastle, looking for the right pass to venture forward with. Natter surveying his options. Decides that Taylor's the one. He tried to flick it on. And he found Mandraker James. 3-on-1. The numbers closed in on Nazarene. And they took the ball for the Jets. Dobson able to hold off the Wellington midfield and burst away. Still Will Dobson. And he goes tumbling out of play. A corner kick, the end result. It was an enterprising run there from Will Dobson. And the 18-year-old has won his team a corner.
Well, that's the thing with this Newcastle Jets team. When they're not moving the ball with one-touch and two-touch passes, the likes of Dobson, Adams, Clayton Taylor, they're willing to run at the defenders just to get them on the back foot, create things.
He looks there at the slide tackle from Mandrake James that conceded this corner. Adams with an outswinger. Nagasawa fully committed to the ball, only as far as Bayliss. And now Burgess. An exchange of headers. Clayton Taylor. And here's Bayliss, the goal scorer tonight. Well, an ambitious attempt at a second, but he buys his team another corner kick. It's the combination of Piper and Eze, the two forwards who had to shut him down. Adams is taking the corners from both sides. A very light breeze, you can see, has just started to pick up, favouring the end that Newcastle are attacking in this first half. Adams beyond the far post. It's an unmarked header. Natter brings it to ground with a beautiful touch, and then McCarron with an excellent save. Wellington still pinned back on their goal line, but McCarron has the answers.
What about the first touch from Mark Natter there on the swivel? That is quality. McCarron, he had to be alert, because out of nowhere there was a strike flying at him. He's done well, as has his counterpart at the other end.
Adams, quick as a flash, switching sides for the corner kicks. Bayliss, a little instep volley that's going to slide out to Taylor on the wing. Clayton Taylor, good tackle by Sheridan just to hold him up. Bayliss, Taylor, the back heel, inviting Bayliss onto the ball. Max Burgess, and now Natter. The crowd urging him to shoot from range. He looks for one more pass, and the Phoenix defence stands up again. Can they hold here, Wellington? Keep it to a goal deficit. Newcastle really making a surge at them at the moment. Hard against the line. Rose. Burgess to Bertolicio. Adams out in space. Adams, it's shooting range for him. And he puts it wide to the right. Plenty of venom behind the shot, just not the direction.
Well, there's one thing that they should have learned by now is not to let him go onto his left foot in those kind of areas. The highlight reel that was put out this week certainly gave warning to all defences. Do not allow Eli Adams time and space, particularly on that left foot.
And that particular shape had a lot of similarities to his first A-League goal, which he scored for Melbourne Victory away against the Perth Glory. Cutting in from the right flank onto his left foot, shooting from the top of the box. Now we've got a rogue shin guard here, which the goal scorer of the night, Lockie Bayliss, is able to put back into his sock. Piper. Eze off the shoulder. Milligan still applauding from the technical area, even though two of his young players couldn't quite link up with the pass, hard against the line. Now Sheridan sends Hughes backtracking, and he can't keep the ball in. So a little bonus here for the home side. As an errant back pass turns into an attacking half throw in. Burgess pushed, and a wide free kick coming up for the Jets.
Well, you noted before, Teo, it's Piper and Eze coming back to do defensive duties inside the box previously. There's Piper again, having to get back into his back third to come back and help his defence. Such is the pressure that they're under. They feel they need to come back and try and assist the rest of their teammates.
Well, the Jets have been winning the territory battle for a good 5 or 6 minutes now. Can they capitalise and double their lead? Burgess hangs up across, and it's headed across the face of goal. Shaughnessy agonising, and no one there to tap it in. And not enough backspin on the ball to take it over on its own merits.
Well, Lockie Rose won't want to see this again. McCarron gets it all wrong. Shaughnessy with a great header straight back across the goal. Only thing he could really do. And Lockie Rose, it was like he almost withdrew his foot as it came to him. Just lost the flight of the ball. I don't think he's going to miss an easier chance of that in the rest of his career.
Does anyone want to break away at the top of the golden boot as well? A golden chance, but it goes begging, and the Jets, well, they may not have to wait long for their next opportunity. Nagasawa can do something about it here. Hughes fires a pass out to Payne. Can Wellington sting Newcastle in the other direction and find a way to level this contest? Hughes. Nagasawa back to Rufer. Sheridan. Nagasawa. And back to Hughes again. Rufer through the left, and just a little too much on the pass.
Well, it was clearly overhit when it came off his boot. Tim Payne, he hasn't had much joy down that right-hand side, but made a couple of runs there, just talking to his teammates, saying, get your head up and have a look. As the Jets defence stepped up, he was making a run in behind. He thought he should have received the pass, a diagonal pass over the top. They haven't had much joy down the right-hand side at all tonight, the Knicks. Anything that they have come with danger, nearly all of it has come down this near left-hand side.
Rufer ignores the right flank and twists to send it back to Nagasawa, and then Sheridan. So the left again, the answer for Wellington. There's Rami Najari. Rufer. Nagasawa. Hughes sends it to Sheridan, who was hugging the line. As he cuts in, happy to send it back to Isaac Hughes. Armiento. Well, it's a long string of passes, but no one yet for Wellington seems to want to take responsibility for playing the killer ball. Who or what are they waiting for here? The Jets starting to commit a few more numbers to the press, and they do win the ball back. Adams sets Clayton Taylor away, but not in a fashion that he can run down the ball. McCarron out of his line. That would have been immensely frustrating for the Wellington fans watching on as they coughed up possession.
Yeah. No one, you said it, Teo, really wanted to take the opportunity to go. Want to take the bull by the horns and say, come on, we're going to go forward now. It seemed to be they were just passing to each other saying, well, what can you do with it? What can you do with it? And in the end, the Jets said, well, what we can do is we can come and press you and take that ball off you.
Now Payne, early ball. Bertolicio guarding Eze, guarding him well. Delianov, quick wave of the arm before sinking the slipper. Sheridan heading into the back of Adams. That'll be Phoenix's throw. Mandrake James, a real dart of a crossfield pass. Just feels as though at times, particularly Wellington, have overhit a lot of the long balls into the attacking half.
Well, it is a relatively cool night out there for summer, and the pitch is very greasy. And as that night air has come in, it just adds that little bit of a skid to the surface.
As we tick into 3 additional minutes at the end of the first half. Newcastle have had the lead since the very first minutes. Here's Adams. Oh, he's piled into by Sheridan. But no histrionics. Adams quick to get up and play the ball. Burgess, Dobson. Maybe a little over-eager to get things going, the Jets, but Burgess in the captain's armband tonight takes charge in midfield. Here's Dobson. Trying to get on a run. Sheridan to Eze. Just playing it blind down the line and hoping it for the best. Shaughnessy. Delianov completes the 1-2 with Dobson. And now Bayliss. Wilmering runs wide. Allows Wellington to get set behind the ball. Burgess finds Bayliss. He rolls at the edge of the box. And shooting on the left. Puts it just wide to the near side.
Well, as we tick over to the 26th shot of the match, I'm still sitting here scratching my head wondering how it's still only 1-0. Both teams have had good opportunities. But that man there separates the two teams with an absolute wonder strike in the opening seconds of this match.
Nearly a minute left to play with at the end of the first half. Delianov, Hughes, Rose to the header, and it was Rose who stayed down, and then Mandrake James had to come across. Did Lockie Rose catch him late? Yes, he did. And from the centre of the pitch, the free kick is given. Wellington perhaps arguing for more. Home fans arguing against it altogether.
Well, he goes in late, Lockie Rose. He doesn't go in hard. I think Mandrake James has realised that the contact's there. He can get the free kick, and that can safely get them through.
So Eamon McCarron will take his time over the restart here. And the Phoenix can go into the rooms. Recalibrate, looking for a way to find the scoring touch. Flat free kick, which is volleyed straight out by Burgess. That'll take us to the end of stoppage time in this first half. And the opening 45 minutes of round 14 in the Isuzu UTE A-League events competition has delivered almost 30 total shots in a single half between the two teams. Only the 1 goal to show for it, but it feels like there will be more on the way. James Delianov with one of the great phases of play this season. Not just a great save, multiple great saves, and it keeps Newcastle in front with a half-time score of 1-0 against the Wellington Phoenix. So stay with us. The panel, Roy O'Donovan, Eric Partaloo and Scott McKinnon, will be with you on the other side of the break.
Players are Rollins.
And it's two for victory. What a header. Nikos Virgos has thundered it in.
Joe Lolly in possession. Lolly still going. He doesn't need any help. Joe Lolly, Sydney FC's man of the moment.
There's so many things I love about football. The way it brings people together.
We all play the same language of football.
It's just sweat that fills your
And I
eyes.
think that this could be a really special tournament for us.
Elated feelings that
When you unite together for that one goal, it's something special that you just cannot get anywhere else.
things that seem to bind us, things we put behind us, things.
Clark recruiting cross, thinks about the long shot and she finds it! And it's special! Huge moment for the Matildas.
The only place to see the Combank Matildas and every game of the AFC Asian Cup is on Paramount Plus.
With the Isuzu UTE, everyday life doesn't have to be every day at all. Love how you live in the Isuzu UTE.
Welcome back to McDonald Jones Stadium. Mark Milligan, the Newcastle Jets coach, back in his seat and his team out of the tunnel. And there is your goal scorer, amazingly, the only one of the game so far. Lockie Bayliss with his second career strike, and that is what it has done to the Isuzu UTE A-League men's ladder. Wellington still 2 points out of the 6 in need of a comeback. And the Jets, well, incredibly, they are now level with points, albeit one extra game played, with the ladder leaders Auckland, who they have had the measure of head-to-head this season. So Wellington to kick off the start of the second half. They are trailing, but they haven't turned to the bench during the break. Their new signing, Sander Kartum, the Norwegian, is among the subs tonight. Will we see him? Will we see Bill Tuiloma at some point? And the Jets, of course, they have one of their great wild cards, Kota Mizunuma, the Japanese winger. Maybe he'll feature at some point as well. But the 11s that started the game are set to resume the second half. And back underway at McDonald Jones Stadium in this round 14 contest, with Newcastle leading Wellington 1-0 thanks to Lockie Bayliss' first minute goal. Looks like we're not going to have a repeat in the first 20 seconds of the second half, Daniel McRae.
Well, it looks that way, Teo, but the following 47 minutes somehow didn't produce another goal. Plenty of opportunities, plenty of shots, some great goalkeeping thrown in there as well. To say it was entertaining would be an understatement.
Crowd oohing and ahhing as Eamon McCarron played the ball up into his own body and then managed to shovel it out of the penalty area. He spent some time getting these heavily braced left knee tended to in the first half, but he's returned for the second half of the action here. And Newcastle to get their passing game back up to speed. Some really nice moves in that first half, and they're looking to exploit a gap here. It's Bayliss, and Clayton Taylor did not have the finish. It's ballooned over the bar.
Well, elected to take it on the first touch. It was a lovely ball into Lockie Bayliss, who found himself in so much space. Maybe it came just a little quick to Clayton Taylor as he took his strike.
You can see the lineups for both teams appearing at the base of your screen. Newcastle, as things stand, would be equaling their club record of 4 consecutive wins, which has stood since January of 2008.
Well, that's a remarkable stat.
There is a long way to go, and no doubt a lot of Wellington attacking to come. We're yet to see them really hit their stride in the 2 minutes of this second half. Still getting a feel for the conditions now, completely under the artificial light here at McDonald Jones Stadium on a mild evening. Here's Ifeanyi Eze defending from the front, and he's got the better of Max Burgess, and now he can build ahead of steam. Burgess countering, but through comes Najareen. Now Nagasawa, Rami Najareen doesn't want to shoot. One more pass then. Amiento waiting for runners from a standing start, and Nata heads it away. Eli Adams fell to the ground, and now past Rufer, he breezes, and the Jets have got a 3-on-4 if they're quick enough. He rose, has to go to ground to keep the ball in, but he did so. Wellington getting the numbers back. Adams veers into the penalty area, but across comes Sheridan. It didn't take long. 2 minutes into the half, people were feeling each other out. 3 minutes in, end-to-end action resuming. And now Sheridan goes to ground at the end of a run here. Referee's put the whistle away, so Phoenix will reset at the feet of Isaac Hughes, but he's wasting little time, seeing Payne out in space on the right flank. Tim Payne sets Eze towards the byline. Eze makes ground, and the header from Corbin Piper. He was twisting to bend it back towards the target, but it's an easy save.
Well, Eze did well just to get there and get the cross to the back post, but on the stretch, Piper, it was always going to be difficult to beat Delianov from that angle, trying to get under it and generate the power.
Max Burgess. Joe Shaughnessy. Natta tempted into a forward pass, but Delianov has no choice. Standing in defensive midfield, the goalkeeper. Here's Wilmering, who's come a little deeper to help out. Puts the ball on to Bayliss. He was body checked in a 1-2. A bending cross, too close to the keeper. And despite the late arrival of Lockie Rose, it is a claim for Eamon McCarron, and we're going to stay with the fallen player here because Lockie Bayliss took a knock and he's now favouring his left knee and looking a little bit worse for wear. Let's throw it down to Kat Haddad on the sidelines as Bayliss gets back to his feet. Kat, you've been speaking to the Jets bench at halftime. Newcastle have sent all of their subs to go and meander down and warm up behind the goal to the right of your screens. No one is being put strenuously through their paces just yet. This is back up on his feet. No signs that he's leaving the game anytime soon. Hughes, Rufer, now Mandrake James. And they're starting to play Tim Payne on the right side, just a little bit more the Phoenix. Nazarene. Payne into the middle. Corbin Piper stopped in his tracks by Natter. The ball takes a kind ricochet, and well, despite the best efforts of Nazarene to convince Emma Kotzbeck, the assistant referee, it is out of play and a Jets throw. Here is Bates. Cuts central into the traffic, and Will Dobson is heading back out towards the line, but much taller Mandrake James sends him to the floor. Nazarene heard the bodies clash as he ran into Bayless. Sheridan charging through. Good energetic tackle on Adams. And that has sent Armiento away. Carlo Armiento. Now Kazuki Nagasawa sends it across. Natter heads it clear of Eze. Shaughnessy, Adams, Dobson. He's turning away from Armiento against the line and shows really good skill initially, but then the pass is seized upon by Rufer. Eze, Nazarene, Corbin Piper. It's busy at the edge of the penalty area, so Piper wheels back to Nagasawa. The game has become very compressed now. Players all collected in a very short stretch of the field. Payne. Sheridan. Back to Isaac Hughes. Drake James, well, nearly caught in possession by Clayton Taylor. He survives that tackle and plays the ball straight to the feet of Natter. Payne desperately getting back. It's a Newcastle throw, but no one's breaking ahead of the ball. Lockie Rose wanted to go quickly, but now Wilmering comes through and the referee is going to whistle play now.
Well, it's Tim Payne who stayed down after that challenge. You see, does his trailing leg just catch the studs of Clayton Taylor as he slides in? Maybe that's just a knock. You see there, yeah, I think the studs of Clayton Taylor come down and maybe on the ankle.
Who's going to be first to act then when it comes to substitutions? I feel like one team needs them more than the other right now. Phoenix are the ones who need to chase the game.
Well, I feel like some of the Phoenix subs have been put through their paces a little bit more than the Jets. Well, that man there, Bill Tuiluma, has been going, he was down there on his own doing some work, so maybe he's the first cab off the rank.
He's got versatility to play in both midfield and defence, so he's warming up. What does Giancarlo Italiano have in mind? Adams, the ball behind here, but reconnects with Joel Bertolicio. Ball on a slip. Nagasawa trying to make the most of it, but crunching challenge coming in from Shaughnessy. Burgess. Adams in a pocket of space, sees Wilmering. And Wilmering on a tight angle. Clayton Taylor, not afraid of a tight angle! Clayton Taylor makes it 2 for Newcastle. A rasping strike. season. And Clayton Taylor, well, he's drawn a smile out of the gaffer as he doubles Newcastle's lead.
Well, on the Harvey Norman replay, we'll see it's a great run. Look at the space for Daniel Wilmering, but he just lets it run across his body and you think maybe the chance is lost. And when Taylor comes across, there looks to be no space whatsoever, but he just shifts it onto his right foot. Rami Nazarine's left, standing, and that's all the space he needed. And McCarron, he sees it's too late. Before he know it, it's past him and into the net. And that's all you need to show for Clayton Taylor. He just shifts it onto that deadly right foot and thunders it into the net. 2-0 to the Jets.
On that last angle, Macca, I mean, it really showed just how unsighted McCarron was, because he's diving in a totally different direction to the ball.
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of what Taylor did there. He had the defender in front of him. He just shifted it just a little bit to his right. And you could see McCarron was unsighted. He just sort of was taking a stab in the dark, I guess, as to where the ball was going to go. It went straight down the middle. But he saw it too late and there was nothing he could do.
Well, isn't it interesting that under waves of attacking pressure in the first half, Wellington stood up, but perhaps not the most menacing forward foray. Newcastle do eventually break the resistance, double their lead, and it is a big task for Wellington from here. Nagasawa halving the deficit quickly would be just the tonic that Wellington need at the moment. Hughes, Sheridan, and now Armiento. He tried to finesse a left-footed cross rather than really whip one in, and he has a corner kick. Wellington have been unbeaten in their last 3 trips to McDonald Jones. Newcastle hadn't actually beaten them here since October of 2022. Mark Natter on your screens there is the only member of tonight's Jet squad that played in that game back in October 2022. So the Phoenix have a corner here. Can this start the comeback? They'll have repeat corners. You can see that pocket of hardcore Jets fans are absolutely loving life at the moment. They don't care that their team's pinned in defence. They're just having fun with a 2-0 lead in pocket. So repeat corners. It's the second one on the money. It's really veering in, and that is good hands from Delianov. He holds it first time, and a little head clash with Eze for his trouble.
Well, he's been good tonight, hasn't he? And here's another look. Rami Nazarine just gives too much space, just enough for Clayton Taylor to shift it. And that's all he needs. And it comes so quick. You can see McCarron saying, well, I can't see. There's bodies in the way. And here's Delianov coming and collecting. He's been great tonight. Eze coming around the back and clash of heads. I'm sure he'll be okay. But you said it, Taylor, that in all the attacks and all the pressure that they've absorbed, Wellington Phoenix, something so simple, just to allow Clayton Taylor that a little bit of space in the box and get the shot away from there, that's enough to really make life difficult for them now.
As we tick up to the 60th minute of the game, Wellington, all their subs still going through their paces behind the goal at the left of screen, as we see again here. A knock to the back of the head of Delianov, and he's now back to his feet. Eze's been long recovered. Newcastle's backup goalkeeper, Alex Nassib, has never taken the field in an A-League game. 23-year-old who's been on the books of both Western United and Brisbane, but there he is. I think the body language says that he's not expecting to be summoned onto the pitch anytime soon.
Looks pretty relaxed, doesn't he?
So this minute or so will be no doubt retrieved in stoppage time at the end of the night. It's still half an hour away, and a big 30 minutes for Wellington here, because their good little run of form might be getting snapped here by the Jets. Straight away, out almost to the midfield from Delianov as he hits the ball long. Jets have an attacking half throw-in. It's worth remembering that Newcastle are now 2 goals away without reply from going top of the league on goal difference.
Well, I was thinking that when you spoke about how the Jets fans are enjoying it. Well, why wouldn't you when you're equal top spot at the table? It's been a long time. There's a decent crowd in tonight. The word is getting around that this Jets team, not only are they entertaining, but they are the real deal.
You know just what a groundswell of support there was in that 2017-18 season. Roy O'Donovan and Eric Pardew were talking about that pre-game. Well, they're back on Saturday the 31st of January against Brisbane. Will they take their club record winning streak into that contest? The third goal might make it inevitable. Bayliss, Rose, back to goal. Dobson, really neat little sidestep. Bayliss, Dobson again. Can he keep it in? To his team's advantage, he wins a corner.
Well, they just move it around so well, don't they? Little short passes, movement off the ball.
Adams, skimming off hands, and Shaughnessy looking for goals in consecutive games. This time it hits the side netting, and it may not have counted. He was offside.
Again, short play from the Jets on the corner, which they love to do so well. You can see Shaughnessy just drifted in that back post area into an offside position.
So another let off for Wellington. Sheridan hard against the line. Does win his team a throw. He had nowhere to run. See the passing accuracy super high in the second half so far, almost 90% both teams. McCarron. Another completed pass, this time onto the chest of Corbin Piper, but he had to work after that. Burgess takes the ball away. Taylor, 1 goal already tonight, trying to turn provider. And the cross is blocked. Mandraker James ushering him out towards the sideline. Wilmering. He's a very left-footed player, Wilmering, and he uses it here in an improvised fashion. Burgess, Taylor. He cuts onto his right, surrounded by 3 defenders, and the numbers win out. Rufer tries to put his head down and barge out of defence. Natter rising to a volley, backspin on the ball, and sits up kindly for Shaughnessy. Bayliss says, I'm taking it off your toes. Let me run with it. Here goes Bayliss. He finds Adams, and he stops on the ball. Sends it back to Burgess. Now Bertolicio. Adams frees the feet. Bertolicio pushing up, cuts it across, Rose, and now Dobson. Body length block, absolutely crucial from Nazarene. Wilmering fires, and that one goes high and wide, and 10 rows back.
Well, there's another sign that the Jets really get teams on the back foot. It's wonderful play again, but look who it is. Rami Nazarene, right on the penalty spot, with the last-ditch desperation effort to block the shot.
Just the 2 goals in 94 A-League games now. Most recently in the F3 derby back in April of last season. So we see a long ball here that's evading Ifiani Eze. It is quite a cool night. There is a breeze favouring the end that Wellington are attacking, but it's seemingly having a significant impact on the game. Adams, that's an overhit pass that is definitely unretrievable for Clayton Taylor, and an apology accompanies it. Of course, he was taken off as a precaution last week and had the hamstring iced up sitting on the bench in the second half. So he's gone 65 minutes, Eli Adams. It really must have been the height of precaution to take him off last week.
Yeah, I did inquire about that before the game, and they said that he just mentioned at halftime that he could just maybe feel a little thing. There was nothing major. It hadn't been an actual moment, and they just said, well, let's just take the real precaution, get him out, and he has trained all week, hasn't had a problem, so he's 100%. It was literally just to be over-cautious.
Mandrake James sees the run of Sheridan. He's going to hit him in stride. Sheridan, Newcastle quickly get their numbers back behind the ball. Nagasawa, Payne advancing forward, and he's outpointed in the air by Wilmering. Nazarene at ground level though. Swivels and sends it across, which Natta clears. Rose causing trouble. Sheridan and Rufer. And now Rufer. Out to Nazarene again. Opens up some space. It's a teasing ball, but there's no one able to rise to it. Over the head of Eze.
Well, it was a decent ball into a good area. And Nazarene threw the arms up and said, well, who in the back post is going to attack it?
And we are just a couple of days now away from the Big Blue. Public holiday on Monday. It's going to be a massive evening and a massive game. Sydney FC getting the better of Victory last time, but Victory bring the form into this one. Do not miss the Big Blue to finish out round 14. Still plenty of this game to unfold, but the Jets have the upper hand and are looking for a third. And that's full-blooded defending from Mandrake James, and good sportsmanship too from both he and Lockie Bayliss. Clayton Taylor. James off the head of Corbin Piper. Oh, massive challenge coming in from Shaughnessy. And now skipping through, Nagasawa does very nicely. Here's Armiento. Feeds it back to Nagasawa. Can the Phoenix execute at the pointy end though? Payne. Just a hopeful cross into a sea of bodies, most of which were wearing a gold shirt. Armiento, Sheridan. Just over 20 minutes of regulation to go. Hughes, Payne, first time ball. Mac, are you surprised that the Phoenix haven't tried different players on the wings, especially when the game compresses like that? We've seen this picture quite a few times tonight, and the Phoenix just aren't finding the creativity they need to create shots.
Well, there's your answer. Chiefy giving the instructions to his players on how he thinks they can get back into this match. It has been a much more subdued second half, I must say, compared to the first, which was non-stop end-to-end, so open. Maybe both coaches said, well, maybe we need to temper that a little bit.
Here's Clayton Taylor. Knew that he had Bayliss on the wing. Bayliss. Adams! 3 for Newcastle! And the goal-scoring run continues for Eli Adams. High fives on the bench and warm embraces out on the pitch. Newcastle are heading for their club record winning streak. And the turnstiles will continue to swirl for the box office Jets.
Well, Harvey Norman replay, it's as simple as that. Clayton Taylor with the little reverse and then the pass, and it went almost slow motion. Look at the defence drop and look at Eli Adams. He just saunters around the penalty spot, and you knew that's where the pass was going. Lockie Bayliss looks, just throws it across and says, go on, put that away. And the form he's in, he's not missing from there, and he tucks it away. Casual as you like, easy as you like, and the Jets are soaring.
It's about to become central station down on the bench. Eli Adams' last act of this game is to be subbed out for Xavier Burton-Cello. We're going to see Kota Mizunuma come on as part of a double change. All smiles with the gaffer as he heads to the bench. So Wellington bring on Luke Brooks-Smith for Ifiani Eze. Nikola Mileusnic, Paolo Retre are coming on for Carlo Armiento and Rami Najarine respectively. And it's going to be a quadruple sub because Bill Tuiloma is going to be coming on here as well for Isaac Hughes. So substitutions galore for both teams, 6 in total. Clayton Taylor, the other goal scorer for Newcastle tonight, along with Lockie Bayliss and Eli Adams, has also taken his leave, and there's Isaac Hughes walking around the pitch on the outer side. So 4 changes for Wellington, 2 for Newcastle. There's Burton-Cello, who's just come on. He has 3 goals to his name already in his first senior season of A-League football. So, for the final 20 minutes plus stoppage time, it's going to be a totally new look Phoenix. And a couple of fresh legs out there for the Jets, but they are 3-0 up. And they are sitting pretty in this one. Danny McBreen is furiously updating his notes and his pitch map here to work out how the Phoenix are going to look different for these closing stages of the game.
I'm still trying to catch up with what happened.
So it looks as though Tuiloma has gone into centre-back next to Mandrake James. Paolo Retre in midfield and Luke Brooks-Smith out on the left side of attack and Nikola Mileusnic on the right side of attack. And there are the Newcastle players taking a break. Adams and Taylor both smiling at having found the back of the net tonight. McCarron hurried into a clearance to Mandrake James. No real let-up. Lockie Rose wants a goal tonight. He knows that he missed a golden opportunity to score in the first half, and now he's got some new faces who'll be just as hungry out there alongside him in Kota Mizunuma and Xavier Burton-Cello. Mandrake James taking the game on. And away goes Sheridan. Brooks-Smith able to fashion a cross, but not to the advantage of any of his teammates. Poker face on for Giancarlo Italiano on the sideline. It's the first time we've seen a team take a 3-0 lead in this contest since the Jets beat Wellington in December 2023. A record margin in this head-to-head. Both teams have enjoyed a 5-0 over the journey. We'll come back to that at the end of this next phase and play. Dobson looked offside. It's a moot point as Paolo Retre is on the ball and plays it back to Tuiloma. But yes, March 2014, Newcastle beat Wellington 5-0. March, I should say, 2017, Wellington beat Newcastle 5-0. So that's the record scoreline in this head-to-head, which is happening for the 54th time in the A-League tonight.
Well, 8,207 people here to witness this today. And I dare say they keep playing this way, those numbers will continue to grow. And the other thing that you mentioned earlier, Teo, is that one more goal sits them atop the leaderboard on goal difference with more goals scored.
And I'm sure any of the players that do know that out there will be keenly pressing on for more. The Jets have improved to +5 tonight. Auckland are +6. They're both on 24 points, and crucially, the Jets have scored 29 to Auckland's 19, and that just goes to show there are many ways to do it in football. So, of course, that also means that Auckland have conceded significantly fewer goals than the Jets have, but tonight Wellington haven't really been able to get close in the second half, even though they had umpteen chances to equalise in the first.
Well, I think Chiefy will look back to the last time these two teams met. In the first half, they had a number of really good opportunities and ended up losing that one 3-1. Well, it's a little worse at the moment.
Retre, Rufer, Payne, Miluzic. Retre return ball, Wilmering intercepts. Bertoncello pickpocketed by Payne, but he's back in now. Sea of legs, and Retre went to ground. And the ball left the vicinity with Wilmering. And the whistle goes. It's going to be Newcastle ball.
Well, it's just clever play from Wilmering, isn't it? Just slowed down, got the body across, knew the contact would come, and just eases the pressure.
Natter. Rufer, Retre, Wilmering. Bayliss. Now Will Dobson. Flag stays down for now. Well, Rose leaves the ball. And then attempting to sweep it across the field was Bayliss. And now the flag goes up on the opposite side of the pitch.
Well, I thought Newcastle had played that to perfection. Maybe Lockie Rose just moving to the ball was just enough. Clearly an offside position there. And as the ball's played through, you hear the shout, leave it Lockie, and he stops. But his motion was to the ball. He had made the movement. So I'd have to say the referee's assistant in the end got the right decision.
Connor Mizunuma chasing Sheridan here, yet to have a meaningful say since coming on as a sub. Tuiloma wasting no time, long diagonal ball. Payne couldn't quite get underneath the header. It struck him more than he struck it on its way out. Wilmering, no letting up, takes the throw in quickly. Bayliss volleying on. Rose buzzing around, making things tough, and Mandrake James just clears to the nearest exit. And Rose, well, was quick to take the throw in, and now has the ball back at his feet. Mizunuma. Cotter trying to find a way through. Dobson. Cotter again. And he just splits two teammates there in Bertoncello and Rose. The Jets are getting a double Sarbet ready. Lucas Cicluna, who made his club debut last weekend, playing against his brother Dylan of the Wanderers, and also Ben Gibson, who has 3 goals this season, but none in the new year. So again, hungry players, desperate for game time, trying to press their case to Mark Milligan that they should be starting. And that means it'll be no let up for Wellington. Tuiloma. Better link up with Payne this time. Miluzic. Well, he hit the ball in stride. He skewed it well wide. So the double change will now go through for the Jets. And it's going to be Lachlan Bayliss coming off here for Cicluna. And the other switch will be Lockie Rose, who does not get his goal tonight. And he'll take his lead for Ben Gibson. So, Daniel McBreen, your thoughts on the game of Lockie Bayliss as he heads to the sidelines, the player who got it all started with that first-minute goal.
Well, an absolutely fantastic strike to start the evening off. And then he ends his evening with an assist for Eli Adams. There it is, look at that. That's how you want to start a match. Right where the Spiders live. And that's what got us underway. And he had a big hand in the great performance tonight as well. Hasn't had many starts this season, but he's been given his opportunity well. He's taken it with both hands tonight.
Cicluna straight into into a contest with Rufer, and he commits a foul. He just gets a telling off from the referee, who hasn't had to brandish a card yet this evening. Maybe Rufer is asking why not. The 80-minute mark of the night. Cicluna playing only his 6th A-League match. He played 4 for the Mariners, and now this is 2 for the Jets, the 20-year-old. Burtoncello. Burgess left the ball behind. Mileuznich linking up with Nagasawa. And Nikola Mileuznich is away. Luke Brooks-Smith. And good defending by Bertolicio. Able to outbody Brooks-Smith and see the ball out. Perhaps not, as we see a replay here of Bertolicio's good defending, not the circumstances that Wellington wanted to unveil their newest arrival in, trailing 3-0 late in the night. But Sander Khartoum, the Norwegian, on loan from Hearts in Scotland, is coming on for Kazuki Nagasawa here. Khartoum, who's spent the majority of his career in his native Norway for Stjordals, Blink, Kristiansund and Brann. He's made almost a dozen appearances for Hearts in Scotland before making the move across the world to New Zealand, the 30-year-old. Gibson, back heel. Wilmering, able to skip past the tackle of Payne. Wilmering, pile of bodies in the box. Oh, Mizunuma was unmarked, and the ball is redirected away from him. Burtoncello thought he was fouled in the build-up.
Well, VAR will have a look at this. Burtoncello was making the run to the near post. It looked like he was pulled back for mine there, but referees have said, let's get on with it.
Tim Danaskos in the VAR booth. Taking off the central referee's decision as Mizunuma puts the cross over the head of Burtoncello. Look at that physical attacking play from Burtoncello. Gibson slipped at the key moment. And Mandrake James clears. Payne is still down. He's playing everyone on side. And the referee whistles play dead, and insult to injury. The ball, loose ball, goes rolling into the fallen player.
Well, it's been a tough night for Tim Payne. Recently back from injury. We've seen the frustration a couple of times tonight where he hasn't quite got the ball, or it hasn't quite worked for him. See Burtoncello just a little bit of a shoulder into the chest, maybe knocked the wind out of him.
Giancarlo Italiano not getting too exercised about the lack of a call. It's going to be a drop ball to restart play. Alex Rufer becoming increasingly agitated as the night has gone on. Not a happy one for the Phoenix. I think Alex Rufer wants to wind back the clock here and do everything he can to contest an uncontested drop ball, but Cicluna does get free possession, and now it's back up for grabs. Payne has dusted himself off, and here goes Mileuznich. He slipped and just lost his footing. Payne only as far as Natta. Rufer. And here's Khartoum. Well, he misses Brooks-Smith with the pass, but Brooks-Smith, well, he's lightning quick, but he can't get to the ball before the oncoming Delianov. And that triple save back in the first half feels like a long time ago, doesn't it?
Well, it certainly does. Certainly been less troubled in the second half, Delianov. He was caught into action a couple of times early on, but nothing like the first half. And as I said earlier, Chiefy must be wondering how they haven't found a way to put the ball into the Jets' net. They had the opportunities in that first half. They were pressed. Got in behind, they got into good positions. And in the end, they've got nothing to show for it.
And they will play on Friday again next weekend, hosting Melbourne City back at home. So It'll be an important game in the battle for positions within the top 6. And for the Phoenix, who will remain on the outside looking in, barring a minor miracle in the closing stages here. Khartoum! Well, could that be the spark and the start of something? Sander Khartoum introduces himself to the Isuzu UTE League with a well-taken goal.
Well, just when you thought the Jets were in cruise mode, on the Harvey Norman replay, it's as simple as you like. Little overlapping run on the outside, and it's just look at the space. Payne finds him. Khartoum, he just turns. There's only one thing on his mind, and it's easy as you like. Bends it into the top corner. Is there a glimmer of light and a glimmer of hope for the Phoenix?
Well, 4 minutes plus whatever stoppage time is available. The Norwegian has put his best foot forward. And instead of junk time, now there's just a hint of tension coming back into proceedings, and Newcastle cannot afford to switch off.
Well, it's going to take a monumental comeback if it's to happen from here. Oh,
well, that won't help. Khartoum might have undone his good work. Gibson, Mizunuma! Oh, no! Not for Cotter this time. He's put it wide. Phoenix wasting no time on the restart of play. Brooks Smith. If they score a second, it will be a harum-scarum finish to this one now. To Iloma. And Mileušnić can't control the diagonal ball. Paramount Plus player index. Clayton Taylor. Well, Lockie Bayliss, he should have said to Mark Milligan, give me 2 or 3 more passes. I would have finished top of the Paramount Plus player index. We will see who ends up on top in the post-game show. Monumental let-off for Wellington just a moment ago. Gibson nearly had an assist to his name. He can't twist that one towards one of his teammates here. And so again, Sander Khartoum. Mileušnić, first time ball. Piper still striving and trying to sprint this one out. But Natter and Delianov have recovered it comfortably enough.
well, I have to give a shout out to Mark Natter as well. Wasn't in the starting lineup at the start of the season, but geez, been good since he's come in.
Mizunuma trying to make amends for that miss a moment ago. Here's Bertoncello! Game, set, match, Newcastle! And Xavier Bertoncello has come off the bench to make the 3-point save. And a short-lived Phoenix comeback is snuffed out at the end of the night by Bertoncello's 4th of the season.
Well, Harvey Norman replay, so much time and space down the right-hand side, numbers everywhere, and Bertoncello, it's just perfectly weighted for him. Cotter Mizunuma has a look and he can see that they've got the numbers. And when the ball comes, look at that, it's perfectly weighted. He opens up the hips and tucks it into the bottom corner. And when you think back to the first half, Corbin Piper in a very similar position, hit the keeper. Well, Xavier Bertoncello shows how it's done.
And just under a month since his last goal, which came in that chaotic 5-4 with MacArthur, Xavier Bertoncello, 4 goals in 13 games to start his time as a senior A-League player. It's a strike rate that many players older than he at 20 years of age would be envious of. And so the Jets will tick into stoppage time with that 3-goal buffer restored. Mileušnić, Khartoum. Mileušnić, he's looked sprightly since coming on, and that cross needed dealing with. Delianov, a strong hand, and then a really slick sidestep, and well, scythed down is Dobson, legally says the referee, and Brooks Smith has his shot blocked. Khartoum for a double, so close. As we tick into 5 minutes of additional time, Sander Khartoum nearly had a second.
Well, on first viewing, I thought the referee got that spot on. Too many touches from Will Dobson. And as the ball comes back out to Khartoum on the edge of the box, it wasn't a bad effort, was it? Didn't miss by much.
They couldn't have made a better first impression, Sander Khartoum. And Will Dobson, that last phase of play means his number is up. He'll take his leave, walking over to the youngster replacing him, Alexandro Nunez, on for just his 4th appearance. He's only played 33 total minutes this season, and he'll get stoppage time here tonight.
Well, one academy graduate for another. These two came through the academy together. And another great performance from Will Dobson. Gets a hug from his gaffer. You have to say, Mark Milligan, he has most of Newcastle starting to believe. His team, they are believing. His coaching staff are believing. The fans are turning up. And why not?
And they are, once again, just 1 goal away from going top of the league tonight. Coming here, no. Paulo Retre stops the latest sub to enter the game. Nunez from advancing further forward. We've had almost 2 of the additional 5 minutes at the end of a game that promised us so many goals in the first half, and they have arrived in the second now. 5 total, and probably still unders for the wealth of chances created. And the Phoenix want to do something about eating into this goal difference damaging scoreline. Sheridan, Rufer, Payne, shut down by Bertoncelli. So a late corner for the Phoenix, which they will take short. Khartoum to Payne. Moves it across. Shaughnessy wins the header. Sander Khartoum, well, a little bit of attention, and then as he slipped, the ball has been kicked into him at close range by Daniel Wilmering. And unfortunately, it is a blow to the face for the Norwegian. So this will tag a little bit onto stoppage at the end of the night. He scored a banger, and now he's been matched.
He's definitely had an impact since coming on, hasn't he? Scores a goal, almost created one at the other end for the Jets. Just fired one over the bar. Now he's caught one right on the bonds.
No doubt they'll be trying to build his minutes, but I mean, he's made a very good first showing as a cameo sub, and coming on in an almost hopeless situation at 3-0 down with 10 minutes to go. And the crowd with a smattering of applause to show their appreciation that he's all right. Here's the live table. Newcastle just 1 goal's difference away from taking top spot, because they have scored more goals than Auckland, who of course have a game in hand, and Sydney FC now have 2 games in hand on the Jets, and Brisbane, and they play Adelaide tomorrow in what will be a vital game. The value of a win is immense in the Isuzu UTE League men's at present. Here's Khartoum, ball back at his feet, but not for long. Wilmering and he clash again. We're into the last 30 seconds of the original 5 minutes of stoppage. Retre.
Well, Tay, I believe it was you that coined the phrase box office Jets a few years ago.
People with me at the time, known to me, yeah.
I wasn't too sure then, but I am on board now. I am fully on board with the box office Jets. They are, not only are they entertaining, but they are successful. They are now near the top, at the top, equal on points at the top. This is box office. They play a wonderful brand of football. They're exciting to watch, and they're getting results as well.
And they're back at home next week, which is just going to have a compounding effect. The Newcastle Jets have equalled their club record winning streak, and they've done so in front of their home fans in style. A game filled with attacking verve and vigour. It was high octane all through the first half, and then the goals started flowing in the second. And even though Wellington did grab one goal back from their latest signing and their debutant Santa Khartoum, Newcastle under Mark Milligan are striding up the table, just one goal away from going top tonight. And they now have a week at the pointy end of the table to enjoy, counting down to what will be another massive home game against the Brisbane Roar on Friday night in a week's time. You can't take your eyes off this team at the moment. Newcastle do it again. It's the Jets 4 defeating the Wellington Phoenix 1.